Hey guys, and welcome back to my kitchen. But in case this is the first time you're stopping by, my name is Gina and I'm a wife and mother from the Midwest, and I enjoy cooking fresh meals for my family, and sometimes I make videos of my recipes and I post them up here on YouTube. Today we are going to be continuing with our pantry recipe series. As you all know, we are on quarantine right now, pretty much across the nation due to the coronavirus. And it is coming towards, or actually today is the last day of my 2-week shopping supply. I'm trying to shop in 2-week stints so as to avoid going out to the store too frequently and possibly coming in contact with the virus and bringing it home to the girls or my husband. So it is literally slim pickings. I know I keep saying that over the last couple of posts, and that is why we're making a very simple soup recipe today, which is basically an instant pot soup with ground beef and Acini de Pepe, which is a very small teeny tiny pasta. So like if you think ditalini is tiny, this is even more so. It's not shaped like a grain of rice like orzo. I don't know what you'd call these. They're like little dots, like little circular tubes that are not hollow. But they make for a very fun soup. The girls actually, if I remember correctly, do like this. I make it once in a while. It's super inexpensive, very simple ingredients. Most of you probably have this stuff, you know, in your freezer or in your pantry right now. And I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our ingredients. So the first one is obviously Acini de Pepe, or any other small pasta that you want to use. I would keep in mind that if you are switching the type of pasta, you might have to adjust your cook time in your Instant Pot or on your stovetop, because this is what I use for the soup and I don't know how long you would cook other pastas. So we're going to be using half a cup of that. This is 1 pound of, I'm assuming this is ground sirloin because that's usually what I have in my freezer. But I do know that I bought some ground chuck because it was cheaper recently. So I don't know, whatever. Use a pound of ground beef, and we will have to just kind of check and see how much fat is rendered from cooking it off, and we may drain it, we may not, depending on what it is. Then for our flavor base, we're just going with a very simple mirepoix, which a couple of you DM'd me on my Insta page asking what mirepoix is. And mirepoix is just the French name for a base of carrots, celery, and onions. And generally they are in equal parts. So we're going to be doing about a half of a cup of each today. So half a cup of celery, carrot, and onion. And we'll just be peeling the carrot and then finally dicing everything to about the same size. I'm going to be adding 2 cloves of garlic into this. You can omit that or increase it depending on your family's tastes. Your girl finally didn't forget to put out the oil. So today I'm going to be using some extra virgin olive oil. And then for our broth is just going to be a simple 32 ounce or 4 cup beef broth. So I'm mentioning 4 cups because a lot of you don't know that these are 4 cups. So you can use, you know, the canned ones if you want, or even like beef bouillon powder if you want. Just make sure that it's 4 cups of liquid total. Yikes. Today I'm going to be using this Terramina Italian crushed Roma tomatoes, because that's what I happen to have. I prefer to use crushed tomatoes when possible in recipes, just because I don't like the diced tomato chunks in my food. It's just a weird thing. And furthermore, like a lot of the times, like you're not getting as good of quality, I feel like, with, you know, certain brands when you buy diced tomatoes, and they're just like unripe and gross. But if you get Italian tomatoes, or like, I really prefer Cento. Cento is really, really good. Cento tomatoes, the San Marzano kind, those are generally really ripe and delicious and beautiful. So anyways, long story short, this is a 28 ounce can of crushed tomatoes, but you could use your diced tomatoes. You could use all-purpose mix. You could use whole plum tomatoes that come in the can and just crush them with your hand. Sometimes that is actually the best way to go, because you actually get the whole tomatoes and you know that they're, you know, of good quality. So long story short, 28 ounces of tomato product. Do not use tomato sauce. Do not use tomato paste. Not the same thing. And then for our seasoning, we're just going to do traditional salt and pepper, a little bit of oregano and basil, and 2 bay leaves. And we're probably going to do most of that in a ½ teaspoon measurement. So that is it. This is our simple, humble ingredient list. And I will mention at this point, this recipe, I want to say that I saw it a long time ago on that recipe site called skinnytaste.com. For sure it's modified because I'm pretty sure hers doesn't have like seasonings in it, but I don't know. I'll link it in the description just for fairness because I did not invent this one. I mean, I didn't even know what Acini de Pepe was. So just being honest here, I don't fabricate every recipe I make from thin air, but I do take a lot of inspiration from the internet and add things for flavor and make them my own. So that is the case here. So let me go ahead and get my stuff ready. I've got my Instant Pot here. It's not on yet, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on saute and then peel and dice my veggies, and we'll be back when we start sauteing those off. All right, friends, so I have my Instant Pot set up here on top of my stove top because I've got a light on my microwave, and this way you can actually see inside of the pot. So hopefully it doesn't jiggle around too much. Just trying to make sure it's nice and sturdy. Once you add or turn your Instant Pot on and you put it on saute, go ahead and add, I would say, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Because whenever I'm making an Italian soup, I don't just think that the olive oil serves as a function as like so your meat doesn't stick or your veggies. I like the flavor that it adds to the broth. So once you add the olive oil and you can kind of smell the olive oil coming to life, you know that your Instant Pot is ready to go. And then go ahead and dump in your beef. And I guess I could mention at this point, you could probably use ground turkey in the soup if you wanted to. I'm just not a huge fan of ground turkey. We eat it every once in a while, but I think this is the ground chuck. Man, oh well, I should have labeled them. Anyways, so now I'm going to let that go. I'm going to go ahead and add some salt to the pot. I'm just going to use a pinch that is probably a 1/4 teaspoon. And go ahead and let this go until everything is nice and browned. And then we'll be adding in our veggies, which I chopped up over here, and I wanted to zoom in and just show you how I cut them. So these are very petite size chunks because, let's see if I can focus on it, our pasta is so small. So I'm trying to kind of just keep it in like a very petite style soup. So we've got our onions, our carrots, and our celery chopped up, and then I just have a normal mince on our garlic there. I'm going to go ahead and let this saute for a minute and brown off, and I'll be back to decide whether or not we are going to drain it, which we probably are, because WTF, I didn't realize this was chuck. But we're not going to let it ruin our day, are we? So I'll be back in a few, guys. Just popping on to show you guys that this is definitely the ground chuck, which means I'm going to have to drown it, because if I actually tip this, there's probably like a 1/2 cup of fat in there, and I don't want that in my soup. So I'm going to go ahead and drown this, and then I'll be back to add the veggie. Okay, guys, I drained my meat, and then I added probably another tablespoon of oil back in since I dumped it all out. I don't want our veggies and our meat to stick. This is actually looking a little bit dry, so I might add a little bit more. I went ahead and I added our mirepoix, and I'm just going to go ahead and saute this for like 3 or 4 minutes or until the onions are translucent before we add all of the remaining ingredients with the exception of the pasta, and we get this going for a little bit. So sit tight for just another moment, and I'll be back when I'm dumping the rest of the stuff in. Alright guys, I know it's hard to see because of all the steam, but they're almost translucent. I'm actually going to speed it up and turn it on a little bit earlier just because my family is doing a Zoom meeting today. We've been doing Sunday dinners on Zoom, and I'm excited because my nanny, who's my grandma, is going to go on it, so pretty excited. Anyways, I went ahead and I added in our chopped garlic, and I'm just going to go ahead and stir fry that for a moment. Try to get all the veggies down off the side. We just want to saute off a little bit of that raw garlic flavor. And as you know, if you watch my videos, garlic burns very fast. And once it burns, it becomes very bitter, which is not good for anyone. Alright, cool. So this is good. I will zoom over here so it's not so steamy so you guys can see our spice mixture. I went ahead and measured out a 1/2 teaspoon each of, this is basil, this is oregano, and then this is a 1/2 teaspoon, or excuse me, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, because I put the other 1/2 in earlier with the meat, and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Also feel free to substitute a teaspoon of Italian seasoning if that's all you have, because it's basically the same thing for the herbs there. And then we're going to go ahead and just add this to the pot. We're going to dump in our canned tomatoes, which I'm slightly disappointed because I've never bought this brand before, and these are not crushed. Those are like diced pieces. So, in case you're wondering, Taramina, I don't like your texture, but it'll be fine. Okay. Dump in our beef broth or beef stock, whatever you have. And if you are going to be making it from beef bouillon, like the North Suiza, like the beef one, it's 1 teaspoon per cup. So you'd put 4 cups water and 4 teaspoons of the powdered beef bouillon. And then I totally forgot to take out my bay leaves. So we'll just dump them out and look for a good one. I wish they had like a package of bay leaves that came with like whole ones, because I throw away a lot of them because I'm just weird. I don't like them when they're cracked or whatever. All right, so I've got 2, and these are relatively small. So if you have 1 huge bay leaf, you could use that. We're just going to go ahead and clean down the sides of our Instant Pot to try to get everybody back into the party. And then, oh, I did want to mention, like, it's not necessary. You don't have to saute your veggies if you don't want to, but with the Instant Pot, like, it comes to pressure more quickly if you remove the chill from your ingredients. And I store my celery and my carrots in the refrigerator, and also the half of the onion was in there because I used it from something else. So if you want it to come to pressure faster, like when you're making a soup, it doesn't hurt to actually simmer it a little bit first to take off some of that cooking time. Because I remember when I first got the Instant Pot, I was like sincerely disappointed when I'd see like 4-minute eggs or whatever, and I'd realize like it'll take 20 minutes to go to pressure, so that sucks. Anyways, so now we're gonna go ahead and hit cancel. I've closed up my Instant Pot lid and I've sealed my valve. I am going to go ahead and just hit pressure cook, and I'm going to set it for 30 minutes on high pressure. So let's just go, or excuse me, 35. And that's it. So I did want to again remind you, I have my half of a cup of pasta reserved over here because we are going to open this after we release the pressure, toss it in really quick, and then cook that for an additional 6 minutes afterwards. So I will be back in 35 minutes. Maybe I'll show you my family on Zoom if we're all still on the video. So sit tight and I will be back. All right, guys, we have to do this next step like a ninja because you want to get it opened and closed as fast as possible so it comes back to pressure. So I've let the pressure out on a quick pressure release. We're opening it. We are dumping our half cup of pasta in. We're mixing so it doesn't stick to the bottom. We're popping it back on, and this is kind of hard. You gotta kind of, come on, there we go. Because of the pressure, it's hard to get it back on, and then once you have your valve sealed, you push down really hard, and now you won't really have to wait that long for it to come back to pressure. So now you hit cancel. We're gonna throw it back on pressure cook. And we are going to put it for a total of 6 minutes. And then that will be it. We'll go ahead and open it up after a quick pressure release the second time. Taste it for salt and we will serve it. Alright guys, so here is our finished product. I serve it with Parmesan cheese on top. I'll go ahead and I'll mix it up a little bit so you can see what the noodles look like now that they're cooked. So they cook into these cute little like ball shapes. I don't know what you'd call them. But they're good and they're fun and they're different, and this is a really good soup because it's very small to feed to small children. It's pretty uneventful in regards to spice, but it's delicious, it's cheap, it's good, and we had the ingredients for it. So, hey girls, do you think you could try your soup and see how you feel about it?
Be careful, really hot.
Really hot, blow on it first.
It's really hot for her.
Too hot? Okay, well, let's see what Daddy says. Really hot?
It's really hot, but it's really good.
Okay. Alright, guys. Well, it was a pretty uninteresting taste test. It's a little bit too hot for us to take a big bite for you, but I hope you enjoyed this video. You tried it, or you're just making it up? You tried it? And you like it? Okay, cool. Anyways, if you guys really like this video, I'd appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up or consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. As I mentioned every time, I totally am grateful for you guys, and I really appreciate you supporting my channel. And it really cheers me up, especially during this super weird time in our life, to see my subscriber base grow and know that you guys are watching my video. So anyways, thank you so much for stopping by, and have a great night.
Oh.
They're watching their tablet. They're not going to say goodnight. Are you going to say goodnight, girls? All right, guys. See you later.